mean, as we're waiting, how is everyone tonight? Um, Let us know if you feel comfortable sharing where you're watching from, you know? Like I'm in from Northern California.
Yeah, I'm joining as one of the panelists and also a moderator for today. So it's really great to see everybody joining in. But I'm actually from Los Angeles metropolitan area in Southern California. I know
Okay,
we
yeah.
have a couple other panelists today with Kara and Aiko. Would one of you like to introduce yourself and where you're from?
Hi, yeah. I'm Aiko and I am zooming in from Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Um,
Yeah, and I'm Kara. I'm coming from Irvine, California.
So I think it's been a couple of minutes, so we can just get started. Anybody who's coming in can just like filter in. Um, So yeah, again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on day 5 of this year's Tadaima. My name is Caroline Kimura. I'm one of the organizers for this year's Tadaima, and I have the privilege of introducing tonight's panel. Tonight we have Aiko Dzikowski, excuse me, and Kara Chu showcasing their short film about the Nisei Week Queen and Court Program. It'll be followed by a Q&A moderated by former Nisei Week First Princess Sara Kubo, who is also a contributor to the film. So with that being said, I'll hand it over to you, Sara.
All right, thank you, Caroline. And I see some people have added in the chat that there's a couple people from, let's see, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, Austin, Texas, and Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, but also grew up in SoCal. So thank you for tuning in from across different states. I know the time difference can be a little bit hard to join for some of these panels, so we really appreciate the time that you are spending with us today. So a little background about myself. My name is Sara Kubo, and I was a 2023 Nisei Week First Princess. I'm 28 years old right now, but I was 26 when I was on the Nisei Week Court. And I really wanted to just jump back into volunteering with the Japanese American community in Little Tokyo and Southern California in general. So that's why I ended up joining for the Nisei Week program that year. And I'm happy to introduce also a fellow court member, Aiko Dzikowski. I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you everyone for being here, and thank you to Caroline and Kimiko for having us today. Yeah, I'm Aiko Dzikowski. I am, like I said, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but now I live in Los Angeles. I was a princess on the 2023 Nisei Week Court, and I am now in the 4th year of my PhD program in anthropology at UCLA. My subfield is linguistic anthropology, so I focus on the language of race and gender within the Asian American community, and specifically, thanks to this work that I've been doing with Kara and with other people in my department, the Japanese American community. And so I just finished my thesis related to heritage language loss within our community as a result of World War II incarceration. And so this was like another part of my research project that I was able to do this film, exploring a whole nother part of the community here, which I've grown to become a part of and to love so much. So I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, and I'm Kara Chu. I am a Shin Nisei Japanese American and fourth generation Chinese American. I graduated this past year from UCLA, where I majored in applied linguistics and minored in digital humanities and professional writing. Um, I can't help but notice, David, that you are sporting a great background. I am also wearing my Dodgers jersey. Go Dodgers. It was a great week. Um, but yeah, I was honored to have Aiko ask me to be a part of this video. I am the sister of Caitlin Chu, who was Aiko and Sarah's courtmate, and she was the 2023 Nisei Week Queen. So I have not gone through the program myself, but hopefully in the future.
All right, thank you. And I totally forgot to mention that I went to Cal State Fullerton and got my degree in international business, but my current profession is in aerospace as a production control lead for Motive Space Systems. And I wanted to jump right into the film, and then afterwards we'll ask our panelists a couple of more deeper questions on like why we decided to join together for this short film and kind of what the purpose is about it. So Caroline, would you be able to help share our short film? All right. Thank you so much, Caroline. It really brings back a lot of memories watching back on some of those short clips from the 2023 and 2024 court year, as well as some of the more historical clips that are included from past Nisei weeks. So if nobody has ever heard of Nisei Week at all, it is a Japanese American cultural festival that's held in Little Tokyo every August. And it actually started in 1934. It's kind of wild to know that this is one of the longest ethnic festivals held in California. And it was an honor to participate in this after seeing so many other Nisei Week festivals prior to me even joining the court. But Nisei Week originally started as part of the initiative to bring business into Little Tokyo. So a lot of Japanese businesses had come together to end up trying to get more people to come and visit. So in efforts of not just the festival itself, they also included the Nisei Week Court in 1935. And since then, there has only been a few breaks from the festival, one of them being the war, World War II, and then also in 2020 during the pandemic. But it's amazing that there's been the community that comes back together to bring this festival back again year after year. And I want to get some of our thoughts from our panelists because I know I can keep talking on and on about my experiences and the history of the Japanese American Festival in Little Tokyo. But as a person that loves sharing about history and also learning more about history, I want to ask Kara, what was your ideas going into making this short film, and were there any points that you want to tell the audience members that were important to you?
Sure. Um, like I mentioned, Aiko was kind of the one who spearheaded the project, and I was happy and so excited when she invited me to join. In the past, I've done a lot of like documentary making and storytelling, like about the Toyo Miyatake studio, or about like farmers in Japan who had been affected by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. And so I felt like this was such a perfect opportunity to, put together my passions of like Japanese American community and history and also storytelling to create this film. And I mean, I saw my sister go through this whole program and like saw how transformative and amazing it was for her. And so I definitely wanted to be able to tell this story and to, really highlight this program that does so much for the community, and it creates a platform for these young women to talk about things that they're passionate about and be, inspirations for other young Japanese American girls.
And Aiko, I know that you've gone through the experience of being on the Nisei Week Court, but what was your inspiration for taking the Nisei Week Court and Nisei Week Festival as the main theme for your project?
Yeah, I think I was, yeah, like Kara, I was just so inspired by everything that I learned through the program. And I think I really wanted to highlight more than what meets the eye, because sometimes we show up to different events across Southern California, but also NorCal, so San Francisco and Hawaii and even Japan. And I think we don't always get the chance to fully explain how deeply rich this history is and sort of the significance that it has for us within the community. So I really wanted to be able to highlight some of what's often unsaid, or, to sort of even just show that it's a lot deeper than maybe it might appear. But yeah, I was also really inspired by this opportunity to be collaborative with you all and with the Japanese American National Museum and Rafu Shimpo and Toyo Miyatake Studio. And so it was just such a wonderful opportunity for even the three of us to go look through the archives at the Rafu Shimpo, or to reach out and get such wonderful archival material from Janum and from Alan Miyatake. And yeah, I think even when I first started the program, it felt so cool to look back at how many years this program has gone on for, and to see the black and white photos and then to compare them to now, and to understand that we're a part of this greater legacy. So I wanted to be able to share that.
Thank you for sharing. And I know that we three had spent a lot of time on the research, and I also really enjoyed being able to connect further with some of the organizations that are very prevalent also in the Japanese American community. Through the research, was there a favorite part that you had discovered throughout the research of the film for Kara or Aiko?
I will say during the research part, we were able to go to the Rafu Shimpo office and look through all of the digital archives, which was such a cool experience because you could go literally back to like the early 1900s and see the first generation of courts and princesses and queens. And yeah, it was really awesome to be able to see how they, went from like kimonos and then transitioned to in the black and white and transitioned to like the color pictures and the modern gowns and stuff like that. But I remember specifically seeing how they used to actually vote for the queen within the community, and it was like a public vote. And how they would do that was by like going into shops in Little Tokyo and placing their votes as they bought things from the stores. And I thought like that's such a cool origin because it's like, bringing business into the community and to be able to see how the event has just really blossomed into what it is today, where even people outside of the Japanese American community are coming in and enjoying the culture and these festivities as it's just super powerful and really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I also think what was really cool is to see how the program has changed over time. Like Tamlin mentioned, it started out as a beauty pageant, but now it's this ambassadorship and empowerment program. And so even looking at the history and how it's changed was really empowering for me to understand how the women within the program have even gotten rid of things like the swimsuit portion, or even just made it so much more than just a beauty pageant, to understand how the women within the program have really pushed it forward and continue to push it forward. What was really powerful for me too.
Yeah, even being able to speak with some of our predecessors and alumni through the program, like being able to interview Tamlin Tamita, you learn so much of how the program has changed and developed. Like currently, we have in the coronation portion, we do one-on-one interviews with all of the judges. We have a speech as well as a traditional Japanese dance. In 2023, we actually did a modern dance as well, and also a Q&A on stage. But even behind the scenes of what the public sees for coronation alone, there's so much training that goes into it prior to Nisei Week. So over the summer months, the candidates actually go through speech trainings, they attend cultural trainings as well. Like in the short film, there was karate do, and then we also did some ikebana, and we also did history classes with Janum. So it's very interesting to see that with just the community members supporting and volunteering their time to help train young women to participate in this program, the payoff really shows when coronation night happens. But there is so much work that goes into it behind the scenes that nobody really gets to see. So Aiko, from your perspective of being on the court, were there any surprises or things that you learned while being a participant compared to before you even started the program?
Yeah. Well, I think sort of related to what you were saying, it was just, I don't know if I would say it was surprising, but it was just so fulfilling. Like the depth of it was so surprising to me, just how close I was able to get to you all on the court. Like you mentioned, we went through months of training before we even became officially court members. And so that really just solidified our bonds. And then also to just meet so many other women through this network, like older or former court members, to be able to look up to them was really special to me because originally from Pennsylvania too. So I didn't grow up with the Japanese American community. And so finally, having just moved to Los Angeles, well, now three years ago now, this was really my chance to have this type of community and to find women, who look like me or who are a little bit older, but who have accomplished so much. Even within the court, I'm just constantly inspired by my own court sisters. So I think it was just, yeah, maybe not surprising, but it was definitely just so, moving for me to be able to experience that and to even find a family here in Los Angeles. I think that, especially because I'm not originally from here, even though my family history has roots in California, it was really cool to even be able to use this as an opportunity to explore the area and to just get to know the community better.
I know it's amazing that we could connect through this program because there's so many opportunities where you kind of meet people and go to events, but it's really hard to make some long-standing connections. But I'm so glad that we got to meet through this program as well as meeting Kara. And I know, Kara, you were like the #1 supporter throughout the court year. You were documenting, taking photos and videos, and attending a lot of our public events just to show support for Caitlin Chu and the rest of us on court as well. And I know you didn't go through the program, but I know you got to see a lot of what Caitlin and the rest of us were going through. So what was your perspective of the court?
Yeah, and it reminds me of when you guys were doing your parade and I was just sprinting after you. I'm holding the camera, smile over here. I'm like trying to catch you guys all on camera. Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely got kind of a peek behind the curtains because of Caitlin, and I just knew how many events she was going to. She said, I have an event tomorrow and today and next week and next week. And I just knew she was doing so much. And I saw like how you not only were, like going to all these events and meeting all these people and connecting with different generations, but you also spoke for your platforms. And so, if anyone doesn't know, each candidate chooses a platform to run on, and that's just kind of an issue that they want to raise awareness about, or like an organization. And so, Caitlin chose the Go for Broke National Education Center, and she was able to, like bring more awareness to what their mission is. And it's just so cool to be able to see how you guys are really passionate and really connected to the community. You guys alluded to this already, but the public oftentimes they see you guys on the parade floats, they see the tiaras, and the dresses, but it's so much more than that. And yeah, it just like it's made me so proud of my sister, and just the community that she represents. And I think that pride is something that I'll carry with me long after this project.
Those are such wonderful words. And even as somebody who have has always kind of grown up in the community, well, I would say more in my adult life, I've been more involved in the Japanese American community. But it's a journey, really, trying to learn more about the community in Southern California and then also across oceans, like in Japan and Honolulu, Hawaii, and then even up in San Francisco. So a lot of our connections have really grown, and we also got to experience things that I don't think is very accessible to a lot of people. So on these trips with sister cities through the Nisei Week organization, we got to visit the San Francisco Cherry Blossom Court, as well as the Honolulu, Hawaii Court, and then also be part of the Lanska organization to visit Nagoya, Japan, which is a sister city with the Little Tokyo Business Association. And at least from my experience being in the Nisei Week Festival, it was kind of eye-opening to see other Japanese American and Japanese communities celebrate culture in their own special ways. So for me, like San Francisco, Japantown, I had never been, and it was really cool to be able to participate in the parade as well as meet some of the girls on their courts. And we got to spend a whole weekend with these girls and connect with them as well. But it's really surprising to see all the backgrounds of why people want to join some of these programs. And really it is to make those connections and learn more about the culture and the history. And Aiko, I know that for you, it was traveling for your first time to a couple of these places, but was there a favorite connection that you had on some of these Goodwill trips?
Yeah, it was my first time going to Hawaii. But wasn't it your first time too, Sarah? Or-
It was, yes.
Yeah, that was really fun. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, um, it was bonding with, I think in particular the San Francisco court, just because their court year overlapped so much more with ours. And so to be able to even maintain those connections, like we've gone up even after our court year to go cheer them on and to cheer on the new San Francisco court for their Cherry Blossom Festival and to just understand all these similarities that we have, but also the different, like, we do have differences according to like the region that we grew up in and everything, but I think it's mostly just those similarities that connect us, and just really solidify those bonds that we have. I think that was the funnest part for me.
Yeah, and then even going to Japan, I think, Kara, you had gone to see us appear in the Nagoya Festival.
I wish, but I actually
Oh,
didn't get to go. I was in school.
oh no.
But
But I do
this,
remember you coming to San Francisco. I think your parents had come as well.
yeah, my parents, they were there, yeah, for sure. Well, I don't think I went on any of the trips, unfortunately. But I heard all about the adventures and all about the sisterhood, cross city, cross country that was happening, and that was so cool.
Yeah, kind of coincidentally, I want to mention that Kara and I ended up going to Japan together through the JCL Kakahashi project eventually. So we did see you in Japan eventually. And then that reminds me of the other fun coincidence is that Sarah and Caitlin were also on the same Kakahashi trip way before they even knew each other. So that was, yeah, very fun.
Yeah, it was a crazy connection point because I didn't realize it until Caitlin had brought up a photo in the airport. Because in December of 2018, um, I didn't know anybody on the trip for the JCL Kakahashi trip with the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Um, but standing right next to me, or really close to me, was Caitlin. And it was crazy to know that we were in the same place at the same time. Um, and that we got to meet again as like a full circle moment as part of our cultural journeys. And also, there's a couple of other cool connections too with our court members. Like Nancy Chu, she was actually a high school classmate of mine, and she was our Miss Tomodachi for 2023. And we didn't know that we were both going to be running for the program that year. So it was kind of crazy to connect again after so long because we graduated in 2015 and hadn't seen each other since then. So it was a really nice way to reconnect with some old ties and then also make new ones. But yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. But I also wanted to give a little bit of time for any of our audience members to also ask questions. So you're more than welcome to throw them in the chat room, or you can ask us directly if you have any questions for us.
Well, I have a question. So it sounds like you guys really, this is kind of like a, I don't know, it sounds cheesy to say sisterhood, but that it wasn't really a competitive thing for you all. Like I think we kind of think about pageants as being, you know, super hyper competitive, but that you all really kind of formed friendships out of this. Is that what you were expecting going into it? Did you think that you were going to find, like, I don't know, a family by doing, you know, by doing this?
Yeah, at least for me, I really only with the idea of being able to volunteer in the community again, because after college it felt like it was so distant, and then trying to reconnect after COVID and find those opportunities to reconnect um, in person was really important to me. But I had no idea of anybody else who was going to do it for that year. So it was a great experience to be able to have that family and sisterhood moment coming together throughout the year.
Yeah, me too. I think it was part of the draw for me was knowing that I would be with like in a group of inspiring women because I also went to a women's college. I went to Smith College, so I sort of knew what it would be like to be surrounded by women who just support each other, and that's something that I was really interested in. I do remember during our first time meeting, we didn't really get the chance to interact too much. We just went straight into intros, and it was our orientation. And for a split second there, I started to wonder, like, oh no, is this going to be a competition? I don't want to compete with these girls. But those worries like soon dissipated once I actually started to get to know them. And by the next time that we all met, that's when we finally got to really chat. And that's when I just felt so at ease knowing that these were going to be my sisters. But I think I also didn't know to what extent they would become my family too. That was also fun for me, the fact that it's not just us, these 7 women on the court, it's also our families are a part of it too. And so even getting to know Kara and Caitlin's parents, I think I maybe even saw Kara Chu here somewhere. Yeah, to just, or even, and Auntie Jackie, I think maybe I saw her too. Yeah, to even be around families, I think was really just powerful for me, and to get to know everybody and to feel like a part of an even bigger family. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I know Caitlin for sure considers these girls some of her best friends, and like so incredibly lucky to have met them. And by extension, they're also my sisters. And so, yeah, it kind of blows you away that how close they've gotten and like how supportive they are of each other, and it's just like incredible to see that bond.
Yeah, and I see Diane had asked, how long are candidates involved preparing for being a member of the court? So this is going to be a little bit of a long-winded answer, but there are local organizations that sponsor candidates. So what kind of makes a difference between a traditional pageant and the Nisei Week court members is that the organizations will choose a candidate to sponsor, and they actually represent their sponsor as their queen. So it's kind of fun that we get to be a part of a community or an organization that will also have their own separate events throughout the year and do their own kind of trainings if they offer it, but also just have opportunities to volunteer and kind of get to know the community a little bit better. And then afterwards, uh, members of these organizations that have been sponsored will then go to Nisei Week. So a lot of the organizations that support the candidates will start looking around maybe December to early January, and then even as late as April or May. So it kind of depends on the organization. And the Nisei Week Foundation does help connect people who are interested if they don't already know an organization that sponsors a candidate. So I was a participant through the East San Gabriel Valley Japanese Community Center, which is located in West Covina, California. And I was an intern with them back in 2018. So that's how I got connected through that organization. But there were 7 girls on our court in 2023, and each of them had a sponsor. But in Nisei Week, we all come together and we do training starting around May, and it goes all the way through August until coronation happens. And then Aiko, I know that you had a joint organization. Would you like to kind of give some background on how you found your sponsor for Nisei Week?
Yeah, I was representing the Venice West LA Japanese Community Center, or I guess it was the Venice Japanese Community Center and then the Venice West LA Japanese American Citizens League, 2 organizations. And I found them because I'd been a part of the JCL for a while. And so that's how I got connected. And that's also how I knew about the program already, because through being on the National Youth Student Council of the JCL, I met 2 former participants in the program. And then because I was based in West LA, being a student at UCLA is also how I was able to become more involved with that community. And yeah, that was also one of the best parts of it, was to really get connected to the more local organizations too, as well as the broader Nisei Week Foundation.
Yeah, and talking about how you kind of start learning about these organizations and kind of meeting people, I also heard about the Nisei Week Festival like back in 2015, but that's really because my parents were always interested in going to watch the festival and we've never been. But it also came back again where I had a couple of my friends from college go through the program for different sponsors and different organizations. So it was really awe-inspiring to see them go through the program and see how much of a difference that they make going through the trainings and becoming these professional women that can speak about what they care about while also putting their time and effort into supporting the organizations that help Nisei Week continue on. But I know, Kara, you also are involved with a couple of different organizations, but what really drew you to be a participant or a volunteer in the Japanese American community?
I grew up, so my mom is, I'm Japanese on my mom's side, and she raised us to, be super active in the community. I grew up playing JA basketball, it's like Seo and the Yonsei Basketball Association, and also to have, just really strong community values. And so I've just done a lot of volunteering and community service throughout the years and have really found so much satisfaction and joy in like creating these community connections and being able to help the community. Like one of the biggest, or yeah, one of the biggest, or not biggest, but one of the main projects that I am working on is the Japanese American Issei Nisei Farm Legacy Project, and that is preserving Japanese American farm history. And so we're collecting stories from all sorts of Japanese American farms or Japanese farms in America, um, all across the country, and we're compiling it, and then it's on a website. I don't know if we're supposed to advertise here, but if you go to
Absolutely. You know it's
farm.org.
great. Go for it.
farm.org/JA farms. Then you can check out all these Japanese American farms from throughout the years, whether they're still active or not, and submit your own story too if you have any family history in farming. And so it was really cool to be a part of this project, especially like with my history of that, because I've realized the importance of creating data points to preserve our community and cultural history. And it's just so important to tell our stories, because if we're not doing it, then who is? So I just find that community storytelling is so, so crucial. Oh, yes, I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, and even with a lot of the sharing of history and the storytelling, I think it's amazing as some of us younger folks are participating and doing a lot of these projects to kind of help preserve and showcase the legacy of a lot of Japanese and Japanese Americans around the world, really, and from different places as well. Like my family also started as farmers. So my dad grew up on the farm, but my great great grandfather first immigrated from Wakayama, Japan, and came all the way down to California. But he had to go through Washington and come all the way down. And I don't even know how he ended up in Central California, but a lot of my family ended up in Fresno, and they grew up there prior to the war and even after the war. So I know my parents or my dad doesn't work on the farm anymore. He decided to leave that life and come to Southern California to become an engineer. But I know my family has a lot of ties and roots um, to farming. And I definitely want to share more about that story with you, Kara, because it's quite interesting about the family history that I have, and that I had learned by going to like the Manzanar pilgrimage in college, where I got to connect with one of the rangers, Rose. She also helped me through the Qatari program through the Manzanar Committee, and gave me some of my family's documents. And quite interesting to see that one of my great uncles was one of the founders of the Nisei Farmers League. So it's very, very cool. We'll definitely have to share more with you, Kara, and probably write up some of my own family history for Walk the Farm as well.
Yes, please. And anyone else too.
All right. And then I also just wanted to point out, David Fujioka, thank you for sharing that your aunt, Shizuko Narahara, was the 1939 Nisei Week Queen. That's amazing to have a connection all the way back to 1939.
Yeah.
I hope that you might be able to share a little bit if you know um, any of your stories, I guess, from if you can talk about your aunt.
No, I really don't know anything about that because it was before I was born, and then as I grew up and with her, she never mentioned that to us about having participated in Nisei Week. So I only found out way later. So
Could I ask how you found out?
just doing family research, we were having a family reunion, and I was putting together a book of all old family photos and what have you, and came across a photo of her as the Nisei Week Queen. So
Oh, that's so interesting. That's amazing.
I actually was just looking through some of the pictures we have from the Rahu archives, and I found a picture of your aunt, I think. So I'll send that in the chat.
oh, okay.
I also want to respond to your other comment about the other film that was made about the Nisei Week Queen and Court program, but focusing on June Aochi Burke. I also saw that at the Go for Broke Center when that screening happened. And that was also an amazing film. If anybody gets a chance to look at it, watch it.
Yeah, it's available for sale through the Janum bookstore if anyone's interested.
Oh, great.
That's awesome. It's kind of wild to see even some of the newspaper clippings from way back when, Because I know like nowadays it's so digital and sometimes it's even hard to see some of these. But also digital makes it really easy to kind of look up and discover a lot of the history that kind of goes along with it. So thank you so much for sharing, David. That's really
Oh,
awesome.
you're welcome. Oh, and here's another, excuse me, another fun fact is that I'm good friends with Dave Yamahata.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
he
that's
was
awesome.
president of the Nisei Week Foundation for a few years there, and so
Yeah, so actually David Yamamoto was the Nisei Week president during the 2023 court year. So
yeah,
we spent a lot of time with him.
with him and
Uh,
Helen.
yes, him and Helen, his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, we consider them our Nisei Week parents, and they
Ah,
for us.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like they really took us under their wing as like their own daughters. I know Helen has always called us her 7 daughters, and we do get to connect with them quite often. So I really appreciate how much those two have done for us as well as the Nisei Week Foundation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see Emily, thank you for writing. I'm going to read the question from Emily, but the background is Emily grew up in Davis, California with her mom's family based out in Gilroy and San Jose. So San Jose and SF Japan towns were the ones she visited fairly regularly. But last year, she had gone to the Kintsugi conference at JANM in Little Tokyo for the first time. And she was really blown away and inspired to learn about the history of the Nihon machis, or the Japan towns. So what are some of your favorite places, stores, or things to do in Little Tokyo? So I'll just share a little bit because during the Nisei Week of 2023, the court members actually get to do visitations with a lot of the organizations and businesses that are in Little Tokyo. So even being able to visit some of the legacy businesses like Fugetsudo, if you've never had mochi, it's really, really good. And Fugetsudo has over 100 years of being in business. So it's great to support some of our legacy businesses in Little Tokyo. And I really like Bunkado, which is kind of like a knickknack shop, souvenir shop that you can find almost everything and anything, um, as well as some other places that, you know, like Rafu Shimpo used to have their office in Little Tokyo. I know that they've recently relocated, but we got to do our research there and connect with them through the Nisei Week Festival. So that's how we got to meet Miki Komai, and then also with a couple of other businesses, like Sushigen, which is another legacy business. Um, but Aiko, did you have any places that you would like to recommend people to visit?
Yeah, I think I first was thinking of all of the restaurants in Little Tokyo. There are too many to even name, but I really think of Suehiro for comfort food, even though they unfortunately just had to relocate. But I think they'll be back as a part of the Little Tokyo Towers or the new development. They'll be back in the area. So there's that. And then something that really comes to mind is all the volunteer work that happens in Little Tokyo. Little Tokyo Sparkle is an annual event where we all come together, the community comes together to clean up Little Tokyo. I know Aze is another one of my favorite restaurants there, and they do such great volunteer work, including after the fires that happened around LA. They were making lunch boxes for people in need, and there are a lot of mutual aid organizations too, based in Little Tokyo that provide food and different things to the unhoused population around there. So yeah, those are some of my favorite parts of the area.
And I definitely have to say food. Fukastuo is a classic, but I love the museums that are in Little Tokyo, like JANM and the Go for Broke National Education Center. I mean, their interactive exhibits are so so educational and cool. And like I love taking people there to tell them about our history. And I love the fact that we have that, documented so that we can never forget what our community has gone through and how resilient it has been in the past, so we can keep moving forward in the future.
Yes, and also even with a lot of the events that the Japanese American Cultural Community Center provides, I know that they started doing their farmers market, I think almost every weekend now. So it's really exciting to see that they start supporting more programs, and the Little Tokyo Service Center and also Little Tokyo Community Council, LTSC and LTCC. They're both great organizations to learn about and also volunteer with because of all the programs that they support for Little Tokyo, as well as kind of highlight the businesses that are around there. So if you do have any places that you're curious about, or you want to reach out to one of us, Emily, we're more than welcome to share even more with you. Thank you for asking a question. And I do want to ask if Kara or Aiko, are there anything, or is there anything that you want some of the attendees today to kind of take away from the short film? Because I know we do a lot of research and a lot of effort goes into it. But is there a message that you would like to highlight from today? I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, there's so much. Thank you for that question. It really makes me think if there's one big message that I want to get across. I think it's, mm, I think it has to do with the rich history of this program and of the surrounding community, and that there are so many ways to volunteer. Like I think that the program itself is definitely geared towards young women, and so I want young women who might be interested in the program to understand what it's about. But even if you're not, a participant yourself, there are just so many ways to volunteer within the community. This is just one of so many, and so yeah, I think I would just encourage anyone who watches to just think about um, yeah, your own place in the community and all of the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo that. I think the Nisei Week Queen and Court program is, it's like it's a story of like resilience and leadership and identity, and it's a story about how like traditions adapt over time and seeing how the program has become more inclusive over time, like accepting like half Japanese American people like Caitlin and these two, and getting rid of the swimsuit section and just having the girls become more advocates and community ambassadors. It just really shows how the Japanese American community continues to grow and evolve while honoring its roots. And I guess more than anything, I hope that young women are able to see this film and realize that there are so many ways to engage with their Japanese American community and be proud of their culture while at the same time, um, not sacrificing either their culture or being a strong, independent woman. You can have both. And that's something that's super powerful that I've learned from Nisei Week Queen and Court Program.
Yeah, I really like that there's multiple ways to volunteer and get involved. And yes, the Queen and Court program is just one way to do so. But even with the Nisei Week Foundation, because we are no longer a part of the current court, there's still so much for us to continue doing. So like for example, volunteering for the Nisei Week Festival, like I feel like it's such an important thing that goes on every year to bring people back into Little Tokyo to celebrate our culture and heritage. But it's also a way for people to reconnect with their culture and history. Because for me specifically, I am half Japanese and half Caucasian. And a lot of my time was spent in Little Tokyo volunteering and kind of learning more about my cultural history and getting involved. But it felt really awkward trying to transition into that because I didn't grow up in a Japanese American community. Initially, I was primarily in a Chinese American community. So I felt like I knew more about some Chinese culture than my own Japanese culture. But now I hope to continue volunteering, and I really do love connecting, like even opportunities like this. I got more involved with the Japanese American Memorial Pilgrimages through their young adults program, Nikkei Rising. But now I even get to speak about some of my experiences and share that with people who are also interested in learning about like the Nisei Week program. So any family members that you would know of that would be interested, or even just volunteering with the Nisei Week Foundation, because there's so many opportunities with the festival, the coronation prep, being a board member, that just kind of goes into the whole year-round planning, and even with hospitality, where we get to host some of our sister courts. It's such a great opportunity to have these different avenues to stay connected. I just wanted to see this file that was added by David. I think this is a beautiful picture. So thank you for sharing. And Diane, thank you for your comment, showcasing our ambassadorship and community advocacy. I feel like doesn't get highlighted enough because a lot of people that come to the Nisei Week Festival really only see the Queen and Court for the one day, or they attend coronation for that one night, and that's the big night that everybody gets excited for. But it is so much more than that, because I believe we attended over 100 events throughout the year. It's wild to think that we're doing this for a whole year from August to August, going to different events that we get invited to. So a lot of fundraising events. We went to a lot of golf tournaments. We went to a lot of dinners and galas, but it really was the community that invited us to be a part of their events, which was super exciting. And it's wild to think that there was that many events that organization hosts throughout the year.
So there must be times when not the full court is able to attend all of these events, right? I mean, you all have other things in your lives that go on just besides being on the court, right?
Yes. So a lot of us were either in school or working full time. So it was really up to us on how involved we could get and how many events that we could attend. So even if not the entire court was able to attend, a lot of us would still make different events if we were available. Because sometimes it would be weekends, sometimes it would be during the week. There was even sports, Japanese Heritage Nights that we got to attend as well. So those were really fun opportunities. I think Aiko also really enjoyed going to all the sports events as well.
Yeah, I love that part. And I think that even though we all had so many responsibilities at the time, I think our court year probably was able to attend most of the events. Yeah, almost all of them, I think, altogether. But it was definitely a challenge, and it really helped our time management skills, I think.
Yeah, I think it was hardest trying to get PTO, or even trying to find some time, because there are some really special events that I want to go to. But sometimes it was hard to make the choice of like, do I just go to work or do I take a vacation day so I can go to some of these events? Because I feel like there's so many events going on throughout a month. I think that there was maybe 3 or 4 every month that we would get invited to. And sometimes you just have to pick and choose. But yeah, those were really fun. And I enjoyed the public events too, because then being able to invite my family members to come out, and also like attend different events in various areas all across Southern California was really amazing.
Well, if there are no other questions or comments, then let me just say thank you everyone for joining tonight's last session. After a bit of light editing, we will be uploading the session onto our YouTube channel the next day or two. Be sure to check out the rest of the Tadaima programming on our website, jamptadaima.org, and have a good night, everyone.
Night. Thank you.
Coming.